Disclaimer: I am very supportive of the LGBTQ community. A few days ago, my girlfriend and I flew to Nashville for the 4th of July weekend. For context, my girlfriend is very attractive, and I occasionally get approached and hit on by women and gay men, so we are used to it as we are now in our late 20s. We were in one of those honky-tonks, dancing for hours until 2 a.m. when we were ready to leave. I went to use the restroom while she waited for me. When I came out, she was approached by two women in their early 20s and was chatting with them. Both were pretty. One had dark hair and the other was blonde. The dark-haired woman told my girlfriend she recently came out and was celebrating by partying with her blonde friend. My girlfriend congratulated her and chatted with them more, as she is also supportive of the LGBTQ community. I stood a few feet away to let them talk until she signaled for us to leave for our hotel. The dark-haired woman then grabbed my girlfriend's arms and asked to make out and go somewhere else with her. My girlfriend refused and told her she was with me and that we were leaving, but the woman would not let go of her arms. This went on for 5 minutes, with the dark-haired woman trying to convince my girlfriend to go home with her, until the blonde friend pulled her arms away to let my girlfriend go. I was standing there, unsure of what to do as my girlfriend became more uncomfortable. If that had been a man, I would have gotten physical, but it was a petite, drunk lesbian woman. What would you have done in this situation? Story 1. Hey babe, are you ready to go? Yes. Stand between them, firmly remove her hand, and leave without another word. No scene necessary. Take control of the situation as soon as your girl looks uncomfortable, which should have been much sooner than 5 minutes of inappropriate touching. Story 2. I would have gone and talked to her and removed her hand. Certainly, I would not have stayed a few feet away for 5 minutes. Even if she had not grabbed her, I would have wanted to know what was going on. Story 3. Harassment is unacceptable everywhere. Just do not be the first to throw a punch. That is good advice. Story 4. I would have grabbed my girlfriend's hand and, if physically possible, led her away. If this was not possible, I would have immediately called security. Remember that if you physically attempted to remove the woman clinging to your girlfriend, you could expose yourself to charges of assault, even if other witnesses provide less than honest testimony. Most people would wonder why your girlfriend was not more assertive. Story 5. As a lesbian, this is not okay. Women can also be perpetrators of sexual violence. You can be pro-gay and not support harassment. Story 6. Sounds like it could be solved with dialogue. Hey, that's not cool. That is harassment. You should let go of her. Story 7. I wait for my fiancé to ask the girl to leave the bar. I would only intervene if the girl was large and aggressive enough that I felt my fiancé's safety was at risk. Story 8. Smart thing to do is probably alert the security personnel. If no security personnel is present and you cannot alert other staff, slowly insert yourself into the situation in a non-threatening but assertive way. Do not initiate physical contact with this woman unless she starts attacking you or your partner. You want to avoid a situation where you scare the woman, she screams for help, and you get rushed by the security personnel or other patrons in the bar. Even if she was in the wrong, unless you want to risk being attacked by others nearby, this is the recommended approach. Story 9. I would handle a man harassing my girlfriend in the same way. I would walk up and say something like, "All right, babe, ready to go?" If the other person did not let go immediately, I would give them a polite yet firm look and say, "Excuse me, it is time for us to go." After that, it is ask, tell, make. Please remove your hand so we can go. A wave to security if they are present. Last chance. Let her go. After that, I will not communicate with words. Either security does their job or I do mine. Some of these steps may be skipped depending on where the other person's hand is. If they touch her in an area normally covered by underwear, they will be touching the inside of a cast for a few weeks. Story 10. What was your girlfriend's view of it? I assume you talked afterwards. Was she glad you let her handle it? Or would she have preferred that you had stepped in? Personally, I would have just gone up to my girlfriend and said, "Let's go," and then left. If anything else happens after we leave, then deal with it as it happens. Story 11. My girlfriend is entirely capable of handling herself, and does not need me to save her in a situation like that. I would ask her if she is okay, and if she asked for help, then I would step in and tell them to back off. Otherwise, I know she would want the chance to defend herself. Story 12. I would do the same thing with a man. Get between them and my girlfriend, break their contact, and stare them dead in the eyes as I give them one warning to back off. Everyone gets one warning with me except in extreme situations. After that, whatever happens, happens. Story 13. It's tricky. One option is to walk over, be chatty, calm, and friendly. Ask the dark-haired girl how she is. Smile at her, hold her arm, compliment her. Basically, you are trying to break the spell, so to speak, and then calmly but firmly walk away with your girlfriend. Another option is to walk straight over, loudly and firmly grab your partner, kiss her, smile sweetly, and walk away. The last option is to storm over and tell the dark-haired girl to back off. Your girlfriend is taken and you do not appreciate her approach. All of the above require you to step outside your comfort zone. Sometimes we all need to do that to help, support, and protect the person we love. It can be scary, but also invigorating when you realize people back down very quickly when faced with strong, confident people who look like they do not take nonsense, even if you are faking it. Story 14. I do not see what the problem is. Your girlfriend is a capable adult, is she not? Is she not capable of telling a petite, intoxicated lesbian woman to go away? Story 15. She was holding her arms and preventing your girlfriend from leaving for 5 minutes. And you say you were right there trying to convince your girlfriend to leave. Is that what the problem was? Story 16. I feel the right way to non-violently deal with a man doing this is to make him the center of attention by signaling everyone that a sexual assault is happening and asking employees to call security. Maybe try this. Difficult situation indeed. Story 17. As a queer woman, this is disgusting behavior and you had every right to get physical with her. She probably saw that you were not feeling confident and took advantage of it. It does not matter that she was a woman. She was crossing someone's physical boundaries, and you had the right to stop her, physically if necessary. That said, I do not think situations like this, regardless of the gender of the participants, require you to become very physical, as you said. There is no need to escalate the situation. A normal level of assertive defense will suffice. Story 18. Petite physical. Minimal show of force. You do not even need to touch her. Just step in next to her face and gauge the reaction. Proceed from there as needed. Story 19. Nothing? Let your girlfriend deal with it. If your girlfriend asks for help, then help her. You should do the same with a guy. Don't be all macho and dismiss your girlfriend if that is what you are asking. Story 20. Who knows what is the right thing to do? It depends on many factors. Something similar happened to my girlfriend at the time with another girl who was about to fight with her. My instinct was to step in between and push her back. When the girl realized she would have to go through me first, she was more willing to de-escalate. In your situation, getting in close and loudly and assertively commanding her to let go of my girlfriend now probably would have worked. But since it will probably never happen again, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Story 21. Pull out your phone and record her while saying loudly, "You are threatening another person. I am moving them to safety." As a former bouncer, we said something similar loudly with witnesses before touching a woman, as this was before phones were everywhere. I only took a bottle to the head twice. Story 22. I would have said, "Hey ladies, we are a package deal." Just kidding. Give her a good talking to and treat her just like you would any man. Story 23. Bar owner here. The answer is always to ask the staff for help. If this woman was being handsy with your wife, she will be handsy with others. They will want her gone. Do not put your hands on anyone in a bar, especially not a petite woman. If a fight breaks out, the staff will either get a bouncer to throw everyone out or call the police. If it is two intoxicated people in a dispute, the bouncer will not listen to the larger person claiming he had no choice but to get physical with the woman half his size. The bouncer will most likely be extra rough when throwing the person out. Be smart, be cool-headed, and trust your wife. There is no way she was going off with this woman. She would have been capable of fending off further unwanted advances in the minute it takes to alert staff to the situation. Do not ruin your night or your life because you felt the need to act macho. Story 24. Married. If my wife shows discomfort stepping in, I will intervene. It does not matter if you are a man, woman, child, or senior citizen. If you make my wife uncomfortable, I will step in. Story 25. I was standing there, feeling lost about what to do as my girlfriend became more uncomfortable. You are not giving yourself enough credit. Your instincts told you that there was no actual threat, and therefore you did not need to do anything. Do not overthink it. Story 26. Tell the woman to go away like you would a man. Do not wait 5 minutes. Story 27. Physically separate them gently in a way that nobody would call violent, like trying to get a child to let go of your friend. If they are intoxicated, they are impaired and likely do not intend any harm. Story 28. The most important thing is the safety of my partner. Sexual orientation and gender of the attacker do not matter. This is not about equal rights or equal fights. I am not a conservative. This is about the well-being of one of the people closest to me. Story 29. When a particularly large butch lesbian tried the same thing with my then-wife, who looked very uncomfortable with the situation, I inserted myself between the two of them, looked her in the eye and said, "Do not touch my wife without her consent." This was enough to draw the bouncer's attention, who told the person to leave immediately. Story 30. A very similar situation happened with a former partner of mine at a club. I could see how the atmosphere shifted from her feeling playful and flattered to uncomfortable, and how the girl was holding on to her hand tightly. I walked up and wrapped my arm around my then-girlfriend's shoulders and introduced myself to the person. The look she gave me was intense, but my girlfriend leaned into me and the person let go. I didn't say much, just gave her a wide grin. I actually felt a bit bad for her because she was clearly drunk and a bit desperate. But no, that's not the way. Story 31. You put your arm around your girlfriend's shoulder, say, "See you guys, have a good night," and you walk away together. Story 32. I understand your perspective, but there are 2 important points to consider. 1. When someone is harassing another person, especially your partner, the harasser's demographic or inclusion in a marginalized group is irrelevant and should not stop you from intervening. There is a wide range of appropriate actions between doing nothing and causing harm. Your intention is good, and that is commendable, but there is no reason to watch your girlfriend get harassed because the harasser is a woman or part of the LGBTQ community. You could have asked the person to leave her alone. You could have physically positioned yourself between them or even removed the offender if necessary. You do not have to stay and watch your partner get harassed out of concern for not being prejudicial or sexist. Ultimately, your partner's safety and comfort should be a priority over fear of crossing boundaries or the feelings of a stranger. Story 33. I wouldn't cause a scene. I would just say, "We are leaving," and if necessary, remove her hand from my wife's arm. No need to escalate, just firmly extract my partner from the situation. Story 34. I would have gone to them, asked the other woman to take her hands off my girlfriend, and if she had not complied with that request, I would have done it myself. As gentle as possible, as forceful as necessary. Then I would have escorted my girlfriend away from the other woman. Just because it is a woman behaving badly does not mean you cannot take physical action. Knocking her out would be excessive, but removing her hand is perfectly fine. While touching women is obviously risky, you were with your girlfriend, and her friend probably would not have supported her side of the story either. If a woman touches you, that is tricky. But if a woman touches someone else, you will most likely be fine. Story 35. 1. Warning. 2. Warning. If you are feeling generous. 3. Remove her from your girlfriend. First, try to remove the arm with force but be kind of gentle. If that does not work, use a headlock. Story 36. Intervene wanted to help because she was uncomfortable. Just because she was attractive does not give her the excuse to cross that line. Being a lesbian has nothing to do with it either. No means no. Story 37. Sexual assault is sexual assault. Your girlfriend said no. The other person insisted and made physical contact. You call the police. Story 38. Many comments suggest physically removing the woman's hands from the girlfriend's arms. That might work if it were a man refusing to release your girlfriend or wife, but the moment she yells not to touch her, security would likely intervene. You will probably get a better result by loudly saying something like, "I believe she said no" repeatedly. Do you not understand consent? Story 39. My wife is not the meek type. She will realize her mistake quickly. I will stay by my wife's side to deter any of her friends and to show her that a bruised ego is not so bad compared to the alternatives. Story 40. Ask her nicely to release your girl. If she persists, wrap your hand around her wrist with your thumb on the inside and squeeze. She will let go. No punch, no slap, no push needed. Story 41. You could have gone to stand next to your girlfriend and asked directly and firmly if there was a problem. Or you could have gone up to your girlfriend and said, "Thank you for waiting, honey. I am ready to go." I think either would have done the trick. Story 42. Nobody can touch my wife or son without their consent, regardless of race, ethnicity, nationality, gender identity, or sexual orientation. I would definitely intervene and at the very least step in between and insist they remove their hands from my loved ones. Story 43. You should learn martial arts with her. It is fun, active, and will prevent situations like this from happening again. Story 44. The dark-haired girl then grabs my girlfriend's arms and asks to make out and go somewhere else with her. My girlfriend refuses and tells her that she is with me and we are leaving, but the girl would not let go of my girlfriend's arms. This went on for 5 minutes as she tried to convince my girlfriend to go home with her until the blonde friend had to pull her arms away to let my girlfriend go. It sounds like the conflict resolved itself. Why do you think you need to step in and do something? The real question is, why did your girlfriend just stand there and take it instead of walking away with you? Story 45. If it causes my girlfriend obvious discomfort, I will step in. There are several options, and it depends on how aggressive they are. You can slip in next to your girlfriend, put your arm around her, and politely ask them to let go. This usually helps with people who are very drunk but not aggressive. You could step between them and firmly tell them to let go of her because it causes obvious discomfort. You could walk up, grab their wrist and tell them, "Let go now." Or you can use the smash and grab technique. If you need to get your girlfriend released from their grip instantly, you smash their face, grab your girlfriend, and leave quickly. Only do this if it is necessary, such as if your girlfriend is in danger. Story 46. Step forward and firmly tell her to let go and leave, or tell the friend to remove her before I do. Her being gay and you being lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender supporters have nothing to do with the situation. It is just a person grabbing your girlfriend and not letting her go. There is no need to suplex her into a table, but you definitely do not have to be overly nice just because she is a gay woman. Story 47. You remove her hands from your girlfriend and leave the bar. You are not obligated to be chivalrous with an aggressive drunk regardless of her sexuality. If the bouncer is not doing their job, then protect your girlfriend. A drunken person is just a drunken person. Story 48. You said it yourself. She grabbed your girl and would not let go. You have every right to remove her hand. If she does something foolish that requires an equal amount of force, that is on her. Story 49. Anyone who harasses my girlfriend gets the bare-knuckle treatment. I do not care if they are a man, woman, child, animal, artificial intelligence, or extraterrestrial. They will all receive the same treatment. I have already taught my partner's father that disrespecting my partner does not happen on my watch. Also, I would not give them 5 minutes to grab my partner, 5 seconds, and they will be out cold. Story 50. That is basically a trap no matter what you do. You have to let the girl handle herself, or if it is out of control, call security to do their job. Story 51. You do the same thing as if a man did it. Tell them to stop, put yourself between them and your partner, remove their hand from your partner and tell them to back off. If they don't, get a member of the staff and have them removed from the bar. There is no need to escalate things beyond that. Inform the staff and they will handle it. It does not matter what the person looks like or who they are attracted to. You do not lay hands on another person without consent, and you definitely never try to stop someone from leaving. That behavior is not acceptable anywhere. Story 52. I would have stumbled and spilled a beer all over the dark-haired girl. Whoops. Are you okay? I lost my footing there. I'm not sure if I tripped over something or if the floor is wet. We should tell the bartender so they can come over here with a mop. Story 53. I have seen a few of these situations. While I do not want to hit a woman, I am also not going to just sit there. Usually, I use words, but if necessary, I may need to hold that lady's hands. I have taken a headbutt in the past, but nothing that really hurt, and it meant that I did not have to hit a woman. Story 54. You do not need to punch the woman, but you could move her away from your girlfriend. You would be defending someone from assault. It is hard for me to see how you would get in trouble for that. Story 55. You just stood there? Regardless of gender, if anyone has a hold on the woman you are with and she is uncomfortable, ask them to remove their hands or they will be removed. Story 56. Point behind her. Is that the lesbian soccer player Megan Rapinoe? When she turns, rip her hand off your girlfriend and make like the wind. Story 57. Given the events described, make sure my girlfriend is okay and maybe owe her something because 5 minutes is a long time, but also that is gold medal I trust my girlfriend territory. Story 58. The moment she touched your girlfriend, you should have intervened. You do not need to get physical. You are a man. That is already a sufficient deterrent. Story 59. The smart thing to do is just tell a security guard. Report her and let them deal with it. You never win fighting a girl. Story 60. Be mature and report her. People have to use their identity or group or whatever and stop accepting that terrible excuse to do bad behavior or actions. It is like a star football player getting away with it until it explodes in their face. Draw the line when it is harmless. Story 61. If saying please let go does not work, I would firmly grasp the wrist of the hand that is grabbing my girlfriend and say, I think this is enough. Let go, while maintaining eye contact. That should do it. If that does not work, for example, call security. Story 62. I do not care who it is. If my girlfriend gives me that look, I am intervening even if the man is bigger than me. Man, woman, or other. She knows how to stand up for herself though, so thankfully this has not happened yet. Story 63. Step up and say, if you do not remove your hand from my wife, you will have a serious problem. If she does not let go, then physically remove her hand from your wife with a little extra strength so she gets the point. She is the one committing an assault, but since she is much smaller than you, a warning is appropriate. Story 64. Sexual harassment is sexual harassment. It does not matter what their gender is. They are making sexual advances after consent has been denied. In my approach, I generally try to let the person solve their own problems but remain available when intervention is necessary. Walk up behind your girlfriend and make it clear you are not a stranger. Intimidation can reinforce her decision and show your presence. If the other person still refuses to remove their arm and your girlfriend is okay with it, then remove it yourself. As long as you are not forceful, it is not battery because you are acting in defense of another. I dislike unfair double standards, regardless of who benefits, even if it is me. In situations like this, she should not receive special treatment simply because she is a woman. This does not mean you should hurt her or that she deserves pain. Do not baby her. If she is drunk and ignoring consent, make it clear she must stop making contact, and then leave once it is over. If you must get physical, use minimal force. You do not need to hit her, just pry her arm off. It does not matter who you are or how intoxicated you are. You cannot ignore consent. Story 65. Honestly, in reality, we would all probably just do what you do. State awkwardly and laugh it off later, assuming your girlfriend was not in any immediate danger. Story 66. I have been raised to believe in feminism and equality. In that situation, I would have stood up for myself and defended my girlfriend. Story 67. The original poster is so supportive of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, heterosexual, disabled, and transgender veteran writes that he will actively allow or help lesbians harass his girlfriend for fear of being called a bigot. A true ally. Story 68. Grab her hand and twist gently because it will not be very hard to do. Direct her in a 180-degree turn. Gently push her toward her friends and walk away. Probably call her some words that would get me banned on Reddit. Story 69. It does not matter whether you are for or against lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals. Harassment is harassment, and equal rights mean equal fights. Story 70. It does not matter who is harassing her. It could be a group of infants or kittens. Just firmly pry their fingers away from her. It can be done gently but firmly. You could try dipping your fingers in your mouth to get them wet and slippery. Then touch your girlfriend's hand so that they would need to get their hand wet as well. This is the gross maneuver if they want to remain in contact. This also makes it easier to pull their hand away if they keep holding on. I do not know how your girlfriend would react to that second part, but you can handle that later. Story 71. As a general rule, I allow my girlfriend to handle all situations where someone is hitting on her. She has much more experience dealing with that kind of thing than I do, and the last thing I want is to escalate a situation and put one of us in danger. The fact that it is a woman who is hitting on or assaulting only makes the situation more volatile if I get involved. So, when this kind of thing happens, I am hypervigilant for any sign from her that she wants me to intervene. That is the key. My girlfriend and I have talked about this before. She knows completely that I have her back no matter what, and all she needs to do is look at me, and I will step in. But, as I said, she is much more experienced at deftly handling drunk men and women than I am. Story 72. I would become serious and tell her to leave and that she is not welcome. Nothing physical until she becomes physical herself, but I would be clear that she is not welcome. It also depends on how strong I feel I am over her. In the situation you describe, I may have to assert myself by using some of my strength to remove her hand from my girlfriend's arm. A warning shot, if you will. Remember that it is not about winning. It is about getting out of the situation safely with the least amount of damage, physical or social. Because yes, you will be judged for using strength against a woman, even if she deserved it. Story 73. I identify as a woman, and if it goes to court, charge her with sexual assault. Jesus Christ, it is becoming a common occurrence these days where lesbians are borderline sexual assault girls. Story 74. She wasn't a girlfriend, but a woman I was seeing. I tried laughing it off as she was straight and offered to buy her a drink. I was insulted, and the rest of the queer bar gave us a dirty look even after I said I was bisexual. The woman I was seeing wanted to support the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. We left shortly after, and she said she regretted asking me to take her to one. I told her lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people are just like straight people. A lot of them are unpleasant. Story 75. I would never date a woman who could not handle herself or take care of business. In the worst case, I would call a security guard over and have him deal with it. It is a litmus test. Story 76. The easiest way is to not stand away quietly for a few minutes to listen. You do your bathroom business, walk directly to your girl, put your arm around her waist, and say, "Did you meet some new friends? Hi, I am her boyfriend. Nice to meet you." The mistake here is stopping to listen. The harassment likely would not have happened otherwise. Story 77. Once it becomes physical, it is time to intervene. I might start by saying to the two women, "What if a man were grabbing at you like that?" I would begin by positioning my body between the woman and my girlfriend before using my hands. Story 78. I would stand back and hold her purse. Not only is she a Filipino woman, she is definitely more on the crazy side than most. She has threatened to stab men with a broken bottle before, so I have no doubt she would absolutely destroy a lesbian. Story 79. Convince your partner to give it a try. You are part of the experience too, and we all go back for an exciting foursome. Story 80. I am a full supporter of equal rights and equal fights, but being in 2025, that is still far from reality. Equality is a distant dream. Everything that has been said is enough. And since you are in a superior state of mind and physically, you can de-escalate the situation easily. In situations like that, you might say, if you are prone to act like a man, you will be treated as one. It is a sexist and foolish phrase, but it might resonate with sexist and foolish people. In an ideal world, your girlfriend would punch her face so hard that she would retreat. Story 81. I would do the same as I would with anyone harassing in that setting. Get a hold of the bouncer or establishment and escalate it for them to take care of it. There is no need to start a fight, as that would not resolve anything and would likely get us thrown out at the same time. The person grabbing your girlfriend was the problem. She needs to be handled, but not by us. Story 82. Disclosure. I am not a man, but I started thinking of my answer before realizing what subreddit this was. So here you go. If it helps, this was also my mindset before coming out as transgender, and it felt reliable. My general rule is to use the minimum force needed to protect yourself and others, so what I would do is heavily context dependent. In general, if she seems to have it handled, let her handle it and check up on her. If I'm reading this context right, she probably could have used more backup. Remember that using force does not have to mean being aggressive or escalating. Removing the assailant's arm from your girlfriend and simply placing yourself between them sounds reasonable. Show a firm presence and make her realize it is not worth her time. Force can be used to keep her away from you, but avoid being the one to escalate. If there is someone in charge, such as in a bar, you can try getting a manager involved to have her kicked out of wherever you are. Story 83. By the way, you do not have to be a professional supporter of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and others. You just have to treat people equally. It is not a sports game where you pick sides. Story 84. It seems like you waited until the problem was solved with a cool enough head. She was clearly intoxicated and crossed the line by being too aggressive. Your girlfriend was well within her rights to tell her to go away and push her hands off, if not do a bit more. If she had needed or asked for help, I would have stepped in. The girls I date would generally have lost their composure when grabbed, while I would sit back and watch the situation unfold. Story 85. This is a conversation you should be having with your girlfriend. What does she want you to do in this situation? What does she want you to do if it were a man? Story 86. It is wrong to discriminate based on gender. It is unacceptable for anyone to harass your girlfriend or you. Stop trying to apply social calculations and focus on equity instead. Story 87. If someone lays hands on my partner, I am stepping in. Considering the context, I would have probably started by reminding the woman to keep her hands to herself. I stood a few feet away from them to let them chat until she signaled for us to leave to our hotel. It sounds like you chose to awkwardly hover instead of properly rejoining your partner. Story 88. Start by asking her to stop or politely indicating that you and your girlfriend are leaving or going elsewhere. If she does not stop, continue what you are doing. If she makes a pass at your girlfriend, make the same pass at her. If she grabs your girlfriend's arm, grab her arm. She cannot very well object to you mirroring her behavior. She will likely call you names, but at least this way it is difficult for her to press charges without your girlfriend pressing charges in response. Story 89. I would quickly pull out my phone and press record. My wife wins Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. My brother was a college wrestler and she made him cry. Story 90. We are in a time where sisters are doing it for themselves. She has got it. She is in control of her universe. Stop with the Captain Save-A-Ho attitude. It is not your fight, not your position. I imagine she needs the win for herself. Would you want her to intervene if it was an overassertive male hitting on you? Story 91. Get the security guard to handle the situation. The business has a poorly behaving customer and an employee assigned to manage the issue. Story 92. It is my experience that gay men and women do not handle the word no very well in bars. I have been sexually assaulted more than once by a gay man at a bar. The worst part is that, given my size, if I do anything or make a fuss, I am the one kicked out of the bar. Story 93. Did the place have a bouncer? Call them over to do the job. If she was just hanging on and being persistent, I would probably feel okay with peeling her hand off. If she wanted to continue to make an issue of it, I would probably call the police unless my partner was in immediate danger. Story 94. Oh man, sorry to hear about this. For the future, that is your girlfriend, and although you would not physically assault another woman, you should not do that to a man either because it is against the law. You should have gone up and saved her. You should immediately come to her defense and make it clear that the two of you are leaving. You would have been a knight in shining armor for your girlfriend, who was very uncomfortable with those advances. It is a lesson, and I am sure you have learned from this experience. There is absolutely nothing wrong with clarifying to another woman that this is your girlfriend and that you are both on your way out. You can then wish them a very nice night and leave. Story 95. The same I would do with a man. Predators do not get special treatment. It does not matter if they are gay, straight, or any gender. Story 96. In this particular case, I would just make an outrageous scene. Bad touch. Bad touch. I need an adult here. Bad touch. I do not care, so I have no reason not to do this, but I bet the handsy woman and her friend would be pretty freaked out if I started shouting this. Story 97. It should be the same treatment as a man harassing your girlfriend. It is just as bad, sometimes even worse, as they think they can get more aggressive being the same sex. Story 98. You let your girlfriend handle the situation if you determine she is not in physical danger. If she is, you intervene regardless of the gender of the person posing the threat. However, first you approach the area before the situation worsens and try to build rapport with the other women in hopes of negotiating a group event. Story 99. Next time, get your phone out and record. Then get her to stop committing assault against your girlfriend. If the girl accuses someone of rape or makes a false report, you have evidence backing you up. Story 100. Firm hand on the gripping forearm. Excuse me, you are making my girlfriend uncomfortable. Could you please leave her alone? Story 101. Talk to the friend. Hey, I know your friend is just drunk, but could you please tell her to stop harassing my girlfriend before I do? Story 102. Get physically between them if I can to stop anyone from getting hurt. Call a security staff member. Your tendency for violence is your issue, not the aggressive, intoxicated woman's. Story 103. Suggest a reverse group encounter in a creepy manner and continue until they leave in disgust. Alternatively, lock the doors and set the building on fire. When the smoke reaches them, she will release your girlfriend's arm. This works best if the individuals involved are significantly taller than your girlfriend. This is why I don't date anyone over 4 feet 8 inches. The shorter ones are spared from the smoke the longest. Story 104. Exactly what you did. Stand by and let the situation either resolve itself or intervene should things escalate to violence. Forget the high-energy machismo ideology that you have to fight or you are weak in those moments. Your girlfriend handled herself, and the situation resolved. What would have happened if you intervened? Would it have helped at all? As far as I am concerned, you showed restraint where others would not. You showed calm in a tense situation. You did everything right in this situation. Period. Props, dude. Take that win and boost your girlfriend by reminding her she kept her cool. Remind her that, wow, that was a messed up situation and laugh it off as exactly that. A messed up situation. Story 105. It looks like you need to figure out how to solve problems without violence. This is a valuable skill to have when living in civilization. Story 106. Report to the police. This is the first step to ensure that person receives what they deserve. Any other action could get you into trouble, and this person may continue harassing others. Story 107. I bet you would not have become very physical if it was a man. In summary, you allowed a drunk person to sexually assault your significant other. Story 108. Well, I carry a gun, so it takes a very silly or determined person to try that. Although I suppose I would be more prepared for it in this situation. Story 109. So this lesbian publicly sexually assaults my girlfriend, and I am wondering if it is okay to be angry about that or if people would consider me homophobic, because that would be the worst thing I could possibly be accused of, behind being called racist, of course. It is a good thing she was not also black. Is this what Western society has come to? By the way, in case anyone gets any ideas, I would just like to say I am very supportive of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and other communities. Please do not dox me or try to get me fired. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.